Look at this really cool seminar room that I found. So literally, you got seats here, empty room, and it's just me, my laptop, this computer, and this Microsoft Hub, where I'm watching a business economics lecture ready for my exams from Monday onwards. So last minute exam revision, here we come. Hey guys, it's Mehel here, and today I'm going to be taking you through my last minute exam revision techniques that can help you save your grades. And today is something like the 17th of May, so this is very last minute. However, if you're watching this, chances are that you're in this position, as I am with my university exams actually. I'll explain why I'm in this room later. But my point is, I'm going to be helping you out with the techniques that I used through GCSE and A-level, and you know what? I'm even using for my first year university exams. But before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on post notifications by clicking the bell below. It really does help me, as whenever a video goes live, it goes straight to your phone and you get a notification saying that I've uploaded. But without further ado, let's get into it. So my number one revision technique when you're revising on the last minute is cramming. And I actually did a full video on cramming, which you see if you click over here, and I'm just going to break it down quickly in this video as well. However, do click that video if you want a full overview of the cramming technique. So what you should do is you should limit yourself to one side of A4 on a Word document. So for example, I have a Word document here, but just one side if you're doing a topic, or if you're doing a, for example, a model or a theory or a key concept. Limit yourself to one side of A5 on a flashcard. The reason I say this is because obviously if you're doing a topic, you need to put more info in, and therefore A4 is going to give you more room than if you were to do it on a flashcard. However, if you're thinking about doing a theory, for example, one side of A4 is too much, I'd say, when you're trying to cram the most important bits of information down, and therefore that's why you should stick to an A5 flashcard. Noting down the most crucial bits of information will make sure that you don't copy literally everything from a textbook, and by limiting yourself to one side of A4 on a Word document or one side of A5 on a flashcard, you are basically going through bits of information and thinking what's important and what isn't, and picking out the most relevant bits and putting it down onto what is going to be very helpful. Let's say, for example, the day before an exam, where you have your most bits, important theories and whatnot, all condensed, and you could just read through one and then on to the next. As your notes are condensed, it's actually much easier to learn from them than if you were reading through your full notes. So for example, let's say at the start of the year you decided to make full notes on a topic or a unit, then that will be harder to learn from than if you were to make these condensed notes using a Word document or a flashcard, as there'll be more to learn, and therefore it'll be more time consuming. And after all, we're only humans, we don't retain all information that we take in, and therefore if there's less to learn, then you'll retain more, if you get what I mean. The best way to audio revision is to create a color-coded list on your specification. So you have red for what you're not confident with, you have orange for what you're somewhat confident with, and green for what you're confident with. And the specification usually lists out different like topics or just elements of a unit, and so by using the specification and creating a checklist, you can tell yourself what you're weak with, what you're somewhat confident with, and what you're confident with. And based on that, you can audio revision from your weakest areas to your strongest areas. Don't be tempted to go on your phone or check social media. I know the sun's out, and I know you might see some people playing music out, or they're in the park just having a chill time, or revising outside. I know that might be tempting to look at. I know there's a lot that just goes on whenever it's sunny in England, but don't be tempted to check your phone or social media, as not only will it distract you, cramming requires you to be really focused, as you have a little amount of time left until your exam, and so you've got to make the most of literally every single minute of your time that you have. My next technique is the Pomodoro Technique, which I've also done a full video on, so you can click over here once again to check that video out. But what it is essentially revising using sets, and these sets consist of 25 minutes of studying and 5 minutes of taking a break. And a typical Pomodoro session would be to do 4 of these sets, so that would be 1 hour 40 of studying and 20 minutes of break. The reason this is really useful is because it makes sure that your revision is really concentrated and you're sticking to a tight schedule, meaning there's little room for you to get distracted and onto your phone, for example, as you are working within time limits. And within those time limits, you must set yourself goals as to what you want to achieve. For example, it could be making a flashcard on Grindr's growth model in business, for example. And obviously, if you manage to do it within the 25 minutes, then great. And if you don't, then you can ask yourself why, whether it be that the theory needs more time to go over, or if you were distracted and therefore you could have done it in 25 minutes but you didn't. If you are watching this video, like I said before, then chances are that you don't have much time until your exams, and therefore following the Pomodoro technique is really good because it will make sure that you stick to these time limits, and so you're making the most of the little time that you have left. As also mentioned before, using the Pomodoro technique is really good when making flashcards, as realistically it shouldn't take you more than 25 minutes to create one flashcard on one model or theory. My next tip is actually a new one. I've not covered this one before, and it's something that I used for my diploma in financial studies, as that had one multiple choice paper. And what you would do is you'd find past papers where there's multiple choice questions and you create your own multiple choice test. So let's say, for example, you had 20 multiple choice questions. You would attempt that multiple choice test and then see what you got right and what you got wrong. And let's say you got 6 of the answers wrong, you would then put that into a brand new multiple choice question after going and learning about it a bit, and then see how many of those 6 you get right and wrong. And then once again, whatever you get wrong, put that into a new one, and so on until you've got everything right. And then when you get to that point where you've literally, for example, got 2 questions right and 0 wrong, what you would do is you go back to your original multiple choice questions, so the set of 20 questions, and then reattempt that again. And this time you would be aiming to get, for example, 17 out of 20 rather than the 13 out of 20 that you got before. And if you do, then that is an indicator that you are learning and you're really getting the hang of the multiple choice questions. The other good thing about this technique is that it also makes sure that you go through key concepts and theories and topics, as a lot of multiple choice questions can repeat themselves. For example, there could be a multiple choice question that asks you about the elasticity of demand, and this could come across as like cross elasticity of demand or just normal elasticity of demand. But whilst the numbers or products used in a multiple choice question might be different, the theory, so the key concept, is the same every time. So if you do manage to get that right, then next time if it comes up in your actual exam, then you'll know what you're doing. And by going over what you got wrong, you'll also be able to learn a bit more about that, as it will require you to go over notes or textbook or video to see what the topic is all about before you try and reattempt for multiple choice questions. You might be thinking, but if you just keep doing the same multiple choice questions again, surely you'll just be learning the order of the answers rather than the answers themselves. Well, that's the point of creating new tests each time, so that the order isn't quite the same, if you get what I mean. So for example, you can set yourself the 7 questions that you got wrong and then randomize it using a website online, so that you don't literally remember order, for example, A, C, C, D, B, A, like that, and so that you're actually learning the actual knowledge. Last but not least, I would encourage you, where possible, to watch videos, as it is usually quicker and easier on the mind to watch a video and sitting here in a seminar room like I'm doing right now. So it looks like I'm in a cinema, but I'm in a seminar room watching something there, which I'll show you after, than to simply sit at a desk and go through an entire 300-page textbook. Because let's be real, would you rather sit there and watch a video and have it all explained to you and you just have to listen and focus, or would you rather read something, an entire textbook, in your own voice for hours on end? I would personally rather watch videos. It's up to you, but that is my bit of advice. Where you can, watch videos instead of revising from textbooks. So for example, in economics, at A level you've got Econ plus Dahl, at GCSE business, and at A level you've got Mr. Evans business, for example. And then for GCSE and A-level English, you've got Mr. Bruff and other channels. So there are really good resources out there on YouTube to help you revise for both your A-levels and GCSEs. And make sure to use those, as often textbooks aren't the best answer to your knowledge needs. That is going to be it for the video, guys and girls. I hope you did enjoy it. Then if you did, then make sure to leave a like, comment below and subscribe. Follow me on social media, that's @MahelX on Twitter, @MahelKhan on Instagram, and official Mahel Khan on Facebook. Make sure to let me know in the comments below what videos you want to see from me. I hope exam season is going well for you. Mine starts on Monday, so today is Friday. It literally starts in 3 days time, which is scary, but you know what, it's got to be done. And that is why I'm in a seminar room here at the University of Nottingham. But yeah, let me know what videos you want to see. Of course, after exam season is done, I'm going to be done with uni for the year, so I'm going to have to switch up a bit from the uni content unless I create a backlog, which at the moment is looking unlikely because I have little time. But yeah, this has been Mahel. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.